Ever wanted to know what goes on behind a rebrand project or the transformation an organization takes when changing their brand identity and repositioning themselves to focus on a more targeted audience or business direction? Well, come join us as we take you through a real-life rebrand of an organization that needs assistance to build a professional brand identity system. We are Black Bear Creative, a family-run design studio based in Australia, and we specialize in creating brand identities for companies big and small. So over the years, we have developed a framework called the 4-step brand design process, which we'll be using to help out our friends at Spacelab Brazil. This mini-series will show you Spacelab's rebrand journey from the initial discovery meetings to concept logo design and all the way through to the final implementation. So if you're interested in brand identity design or want to learn more about our framework, then stay tuned and enjoy. So who is Spacelab? Before there was Spacelab, the research group formed in 2002 under different names. Since 2018, the organization has developed into what is now known as Spacelab. They are a laboratory that brings together students and researchers from different fields, different levels of knowledge in order to create systems for various applications in the space sector. Spacelab's infrastructure aims to provide a meeting point for space development, innovation, and research activities in Brazil. So what did they need help with? So during our initial conversations with Spacelab, we identified that they wanted to increase their national relevance due to the launch of their very first satellite last year in 2019. So they also wanted to expand their influence to improve their communication with the general population, to attract new investors, partners, students, which in order to get more funding to do more cool projects. And since they don't have a brand identity system or general brand guidelines, it's very hard for them to create a sense of belonging and consistency. So Spacelab wants to create a brand message of a united multidisciplinary group. So Spacelab also wants to position themselves as a scientific academic entity, that is nationally recognized as one of the industry leaders in space research and development. With over 18 years of combined experience, including several research initiatives and groups from the Federal University, their overall goal is to make space more accessible, not only to the academic community, but also to private corporate enterprise. So what's the first step? Once all the contracts have been signed, it's time to kick things off with a discovery meeting. We need to find out more information about the organization and determine what our project goals will be, how the organization works, what the company culture is like, and what makes them different from competing organizations, and identify their ideal consumers and partner companies that they want to work with. So we're about to do the discovery meeting with the client, and this is the most important part of the process. We get everyone involved. Everyone gets to have a say. I get to meet everyone, see how they think, how they operate. So what I'm trying to do in this discovery meeting is just uncover more information about the organization, and most importantly, bring everyone together. Whoever's involved with the project, I want to make sure that we're all in alignment of what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish, and just to provide very clear project outcomes. So we're trying to dig deeper, ask good questions, and find out really what they're trying to achieve. Because a lot of times clients will come to us and think that just a logo design or some sort of update in design is going to solve a particular problem or a surface level problem. In my experience, that it can only solve so much. So what we need to do is figure out what really are the problems or branding issues that the organization is having, and try to really target them and make sure that our approach, is specific for that particular problem. So all this information that we're going to uncover in this meeting, pretty much we're going to use that and create a creative brief from that. And this pretty much puts every idea or anything important that we uncover onto paper or onto screen or onto some sort of document that I will then show to everyone involved in the project to get everyone to give me a sign off before we actually start designing. So we'll see how we go. Hopefully they're a good bunch of people. They seem really nice via email, so we'll see how we go. So what is in a discovery meeting? So as discussed previously, the purpose of the meeting is to uncover more information about the organization that's going to help us build the creative brief. The brief is our guide, it's our North Star. So it also brings everyone involved in the project, brings us all together, makes us all aligned and all on the same page. It's super important that all the stakeholders are involved in the creation of the brief, and also we need to get final sign-off from the approved copy of the brief before we design anything. So the creative brief consists of these core elements: the details of the organization. So this is just a basic overview of the project, the do's and don'ts, and the agreed deliverables. And what I mean by deliverables is the things we agree to give the client at the end of the project. So whether they be logo files, business cards, flyers, any type of file they're going to need, we need to agree upon what we're actually going to provide them at the end. So the next thing we need to do is to come up with some core project goals. So we like to come up with 4 to 5, and we do this with the client, and just to outline on what do we actually want to achieve at the end. So in this project, the first goal was to position Spacelab as a serious academic entity. So the second one is to create a brand identity that allows Spacelab to communicate a consistent, authentic brand message and provide them with guidelines on how to apply this new brand identity for future internal documents and marketing material. So the third goal is to use this rebrand project as an opportunity to generate new brand awareness, some more brand engagement for the next generation of engineers or people looking to study this field. So the fourth goal was to create a brand identity that positions Spacelab as a professional partner for private enterprise and generate government funding and possibly new collaborations. So the next thing we'll go through some rationale questions. So what does that organization do and how? What is their company culture like, their history, and their future ambitions? After that, we need to go through their competitors, who they are they indirect, are they direct competitors? And what I mean by that is, if they are direct competitors, are they directly competing in your market, in your industry, or are they indirect, which means that are they out of your industry, or they don't directly have the same type of clients or customers as you. So the next thing we like to do is to focus on the brand voice. And what I like to do is to have a little exercise with the client and get them to come up with 5 keywords that personifies their brand. And the best way to do this is to imagine your brand as a person. How would they sound? How would they talk? What language would they use? How would they explain things and express themselves? So for Spacelab, we came up with innovative, curious, explore, passionate, and knowledgeable. And the client gets that information from, answering those questions of what their company culture is like, what their ambitions are, and digging through deeper of why they do what they do allows them to come up with those keywords. So the next thing I want to know is what brands inspire them. So this allows us to find some visual benchmarks and what the client expects at the end of the project. It also helps us know what to avoid showing them and sort of get an idea what they like and what they don't like. And it's also a handy way to explain the difference between brand and a logo. We like to do this by demonstrating the emotions you feel about a particular brand that's linked to a logo, and showing that a good logo with a weak brand behind it still doesn't resonate the same way. So through our discussions, we came up with SpaceX, NASA, Boeing, and Intel. So, a lot of companies based obviously in the space industry, which I thought was going to be the case, but it's great to uncover why they like those brands and what, in terms of design elements, do they like about those brands and what they don't like as well. The next thing we do is the inspirational or inspiration quiz. And this is a fun exercise we like to do with our clients to think creatively. So we like to take the personification of the brand a little step further by getting them to pick an actual famous person or a character that embodies the brand. And if they get stuck and are struggling to come up with any ideas, we go back to the brand voice, or what the culture of the company is, to help guide them to a possible choice. And this allows them to actually create an actual image in their head of what the brand would look like. I like doing this because it gets the client away from thinking about the logo, thinking about the aesthetics, thinking about all the different type of styles. It starts to get them to think more about the brand itself, the brand behind the logo. And once you define the brand, it makes design decisions a lot easier. And the great thing is it only takes a couple of minutes. So they came up with two people, which was Carl Sagan and Jacques Cousteau, just because of their passion for exploration and science. And this was great because this really encapsulated what they were telling me in the meeting about their brand philosophy, what the Space Lab is all about, how they teach the students, and I really put everything in perspective. So the other crucial part of the brief is building customer personas. So what are customer personas? Avatars, profiles, so whatever you call them, they allow you to identify your ideal customers, your ideal clients. It allows you to create a backstory, find out their pain points, and how you can solve them. Think of this more as a story. So if you're going to tell this story as a person, as a book, you're telling their life story. You know, there's a reason why they fell in love with engineering. There's a reason why people fall in love with, you know, mechanical things and physics. Was it because and this is where it's hard. I know it's hard for engineers, but
maybe inspiring yourself, like tell your story. Maybe it will help.
I think with this type of person, it'll be, you know, it's something wherever you feel you have a passion. You know, is there, I don't know, a show in Brazil that you watched as when you were kids that just blew your mind about space? Was it Star Wars? Was it the movies that you watched that just was like fascinated you about it? For me, it's Star Wars. The first thing that comes to mind was Star Wars. That's the thing that just made me fall in love with space, made me crazy about space, wanted to know stuff about space. That was my thing. But I don't know if there's anything specifically in Brazil that there's something there that I don't know about that you guys watched that you all agree that, oh wow, we all watched this. We all watched this as a kid, or we all watched this.
For me, I think my experience, my characteristics focus more on this. Like I love Star Wars. I like space related stuff, and generally they are not so much focused on Brazil because we have very little about this for us in our country, specifically Brazil and stuff. So when we think of space, we think of NASA, we think of Apollo missions, we think of space exploration, sci-fi movies, this kind of stuff. So, but fundamentally, I think that the story behind the person that enters in the engineering course is that he wants to know how to predict and model real things using mathematics and physics.
Not only is it great for branding, it's just a great way to, you know, create your messaging for future marketing, advertisements, and can spark ideas of what new services, new products you can create to sort of fulfill these needs. So the second one was Maria. Originally, Space Lab wanted to target specifically agriculture organizations like farmers, and anyone in that sort of industry, to sort of let them know, like, hey, look, we have this technology. This is how we can implement it. Let us know if you're interested. But as we went through this bio, we realized that the best way to sort of promote their skill set and promote the services they can offer, the technology they can offer, it's better to collaborate with an actual tech solutions provider that already has contacts in the agriculture sector. There was a good point there, I think, with, you know, do you try to pitch this to, you know, software providers that are in the agricultural space for them for them like the middleman to sell onto the actual farm owners and stuff like that, or do you go straight directly? The only thing with that,
it could be two. It's kind of two approaches. We can work with the guys that is already in the market trying to start in this business, like Visiona, as I mentioned. We can try to make a part of a satellite for them, but also we can receive like an investor, like agriculture. Oh, okay, I want to invest in you. I have this amount, and you need to make me a satellite and solve my problem.
Yeah.
And we have two approaches. We can work with other people, and we can also do by our own. So since we are academia, we don't have like, we don't need to competitors. We truly need to exterminate the competitors.
No, yeah.
We can work together. I don't know. Maybe I'm just.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, what's the easiest way to cost of entry? Is it better to maybe target the people that have specifically done the brand? They've done all the branding of themselves to be part of the agriculture space. They already know the people in that space. So if we show them, hey, look, we've got a solution for you guys. We've got satellite capability here. They can then on-sell because they've already made the connections. They already have they already made those connections in the agriculture space. The other way, if you go directly straight to the consumer, it's harder because then now the brand needs to be for them to trust them, but it also needs to be accessible for the students as well, because there's two things here.
It's not.
I don't know. To me now, instead of maybe going directly, it might be better to sort of target this to those tech companies in the agricultural space, because it's an easier sell. They understand the technology. They understand it's not a big leap for them, and they can see, you come to me and be, you'll come to me and be like, hey, look, we offer these services, these capabilities. I know John down the road, he would love this. He needs this. I know him. Yeah, it's, you got things there. It's more of a collaboration. It's not going to be direct, but, it's not a hard sell compared to trying to, because really, if you're going to really target these rural agriculture companies, you sort of need to rebrand it to sort of, you do it, you know what I mean? Essentially, you've got two brands here, you know what I mean? So, and that's a lot of...
Your way of thinking is correct, right in this point.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Aline, that was a good point. I reckon that makes sense to me. So I reckon let's and that Hexagon, that link you just sent me, they're the type of people that I reckon we need to sell to. They're the type of people we need to target it at. So let's do the actual customer bio on the owners of Hexagon Agriculture. Let's do that, because I think that's going to be more worthwhile. Okay, so we had to split the sessions into two, as the discovery meeting itself pretty much took up the first session, and the second session we had to do the customer bios, just because it was a bit more intensive and I just needed that extra time, so we do it right. Overall, the meetings went great. Got a lot of information from Spacelab. They did a great job of providing me everything I need to know. And most importantly, they seem like a great group of people to work with, which makes my life a lot easier. So I can't wait to progress to doing the style boards. But before that, we need them to sign off on the creative brief. So pretty much what I'm going to do now is get all that information from the meetings, put it all into one document, send it to Spacelab, get everyone involved in the project to sign off. And once we get that sign off, we'll get started onto the next phase. So thank you so much for watching the first episode of the mini-series of the Real Life Branding Project. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you found it useful. So the next episode will be about research, visual prototyping, starting with the style boards. Don't forget to subscribe and to click that bell notification button so you don't miss out on the next episode. And yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this episode. What you guys think? Was it useful? What do you want to see more? So yeah, leave your feedback in the comments below. And like always, I'll see you guys in the next episode.